Hello, my name is III the Kemite. This is the Lion's Den recording studio, and you have now entered the Mojo of audio. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite microphones, and if you stay tuned, we'll be right back. I'm glad you decided to come back. Today we are talking about the AKG C414 microphone. It is one of my favorite mics, and it is the mic that I have personally owned the longest in my collection. Now, the 414 that I have is the C414 B-uls, and it is the last of the transformer-based microphones. We'll get into transformers in a moment. But what I want you to know is that every AKG C414 that has come out, and there have been many that have all changed with the times, they are not all the same mic. There's always something different about them, and in my own personal opinion, they're not based on the same technology. So they don't fall in the same category for me. So let's start off by saying what the AKG 414 originally was. Originally, there was a fabulous mic called the AKG C12 microphone. I'm not talking about the 12 VR, you know, the green one with the gold screen. I'm talking about the original C12. Now, it was a tube-based microphone that absolutely sounded wonderful in its time or any other time. The 414 comes in as an answer to maybe a problem no one had, but it did substantially cut prices. So what happened with the 414 is they took the tube out. It gave AKG the ability to make a smaller mic because the tube was no longer in there. They used different electronics in place of the tube, and then we have the 414, which kind of was a great compromise between size and, you know, anytime you have a tube and a mic, it takes time to warm it up and so on and so forth, and you don't really have that with the AKG 414. The AKG 414 sounded like a C12, only at that time it was a little more modern. Now, since then, we've had AKG EB series, one that had a brass but gold sputtered diaphragm, and one that was a plastic diaphragm, that is the disc that actually captures the audio that goes into the mic. And you might think that the plastic diaphragm did not sound as good as the brass diaphragm, but you'd probably be wrong. It's really a matter of taste. While I can tell the difference kind of, sort of, there's not that much difference. I have more experience with the plastic one. It sounds fabulous. It sounds absolutely wonderful. Having said that, the times when I've used the brass one, I have thought that was good too. The AKG characteristic is very clean, very transparent, but there's a certain amount of dimensionality to it. I almost got that word wrong. That a lot of mics of its time did not have. It sounded really natural. So for audio capture, it was absolutely wonderful. What you heard is what you got. There was a little something extra there, a little something extra in the color. And the older the mic got, and it took me a long time to realize this, of course, but the older that mic got, the better it sounded. I can say that for all the AKGs up to the B-uls. After the EB series, then mine came up, the B-uls. And it was the last of the transformer-based microphones. Now, I got to tell you, when it comes to transformers, I like them in my microphones. I like the weight and the character that they add to microphones. Sometimes you can't hear that weight, all depending on the sound source. But I love the way transformers sound, and I am very skeptical about buying a microphone that does not have a transformer in it. Now, don't get me wrong, they have their place. And when it is appropriate, I'm on board. But usually, I want a microphone with a transformer. The B-uls, unbeknownst to me at the time, was going to be the last transformer microphone. They issued that in the late 90s, I believe, or at least that's when I got mine. It sounds absolutely fantastic. It's clean. It takes a lot of power, so I can get those Power Plus gospel vocal singers on there, and the mic just handles it all beautifully. Loud instruments like saxophones or trumpets work just fine in there. Like I said before, the sound is transparent, but there's a little something extra added by the transformer, and the high end is not too bright, but it's just right. I tend to record natural sounding sources with that. So I'll put an AKG on an acoustic guitar. I like it on horn instruments. I've used them on brass sections, and they sound really wonderful. I've even used them on a number of percussionists. So if you decide to go with an AKG 414, make sure you understand that there is a cutoff point for the transformer-based AKGs. Now, there are the AKG TL series, the XL series, the XLS series. I'm probably missing a few series there, but AKG calls itself keeping up with the times. So once you get to the TLs, you're talking about a transformerless microphone. Now, I am not going to diminish the effectiveness of these microphones. They sound wonderful. They are clean, they are crisp, they're not too much on the high end, they're not shrill by any means, but they are bright. So you may have to do a little EQing, a little more EQing than I do with a transformer-based microphone. Usually with a good transformer-based microphone, I don't mess with the EQ a lot. I might have to roll off some low end or something like that. But typically speaking, there's not a lot of EQing that goes on for me with a transformer-based mic. With a transformerless mic, I usually have to use the high cut filter maybe at the 17K range, 16K range, or something like that. But I don't really have to, and I'm always going to have to roll off some on the bottom end. I don't find the low end nearly as focused as I do the older series from the B-uls back. So there's a difference there. But I'm going to tell you, if you buy I think right now the current mic is the AKG C414 XLS. And if you buy that one, that is a fabulous, fabulous microphone. I don't have it in my collection on purpose, but if you're going to get a transformerless mic, I strongly suggest you get that one. So anyway, I'm not going to put up any sound samples because I just don't like the way they transfer over onto the internet. But I hope you take my word for it. I've been doing this for about 30 years. I've been doing this for well over 30 years. And so I'm kind of familiar with mics and what they sound like and so on and so forth. In the future, we are going to review more mics, and I'm never going to review a mic that I have not worked with extensively, and so we'll talk about it. In the meantime, though, I hope you have great sound experiences in your studio. This has been the Mojo of Audio, and I will see you soon.